Welcome to the Records Week 4 High School Football Preview. Alongside with Austen Gregerson, we'll break down all the games this week and give our predictions for what we think is going to happen. So we'll start with the game of the week, which is Ponte Vedra playing Nice at Nice. I think last year Ponte Vedra won this game 42-0, and also the year before won as well, and that was after a couple of losses to start this rivalry, and I pretty much expect it to go the same way. Nice is in transition, and Ponte Vedra is coming off a bye week following a big win, so this could get ugly pretty quickly again.
And, bad news for Nice is that Kane Dobb, their starter linebacker, commit to LSU, just transferred to Sandalwood, so they're not going to have his abilities to at least try and stop Cole Mazza in the running attack that Ponte Vedra brings. So it's not a lot of good things adding up for Nice heading into this game. And you just see how I was really impressed with the way that Freudian slip, the way that Ponte Vedra was able to rush the ball against Bartram in their win. Just consistently game after game, and it seemed like Nice, when they played St. Augustine, they tried to put a lot of guys in the box to prevent Levent Sands from being successful, but even that was limited success. So I can see Mazza doing it again this week.
Yeah, and Levent and Cole are two very different players. Cole against Ponte Vedra or against Nice last year had 4 touchdowns in the first half, so probably not a good sign moving forward. Anyway, on to the next game. We'll look at St. Augustine heading to Wolfson to open district play. Not really a very good district opponent. That's the thing about 4-6A is you have Bartram Trail and St. Augustine. Atlantic Coast is okay, and then everybody else is pretty much awful. So this is going to be the start of where really Levent Sands kind of took off last year, and I expect him to have another big game and for St. Augustine to win relatively easily.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the part of the schedule where St. Augustine it's more about not beating themselves as opposed to having to beat their opponents, and it's going to be up to Coach Joy Wiles to keep his guys on point and really focus throughout this kind of point of season where you could kind of expect 16, 17-year-old kids kind of lose focus a little bit. So we'll see how he keeps their interest up, how he keeps everyone motivated. But I think it should be a pretty handedly win for St. Augustine.
Yeah, and along the same track, the next game being Bartram Trail hosting Englewood. Now, Englewood's even worse than Wolfson, and by a pretty wide margin. Last year, Bartram beat them 63-0, and that was pretty much in the first half. And at the same point, it was, I think, the 15th straight loss for Englewood, and it was the biggest victory in Bartram's history. And now, while Bartram's not exactly quite as offensively potent as they were a season ago, they're still plenty good, and in this situation, once again, I think they'll put up at least 50 points. And probably be a good game for the backups to get going in the second half.
Yeah, I will be attending the Bartram Trail Englewood games, and Bartram fans are not too happy with me this era. So I hope I don't see myself bringing an effigy, although you can never trust the Bartram Trail student section. But same game as St. Augustine's against Wolfson. It's going to be another game for Bartram Trail. At least they have something to refocus on. Where they had that loss, where they have something to point to say that they are fallible, and so that they can really execute their offense well and use their speed just to put the game away quickly. And like you said, gives them back up some playing time.
Yeah, Englewood just problems. They've got a new coach, the third coach since 2007, and 2 years ago they only had 1 win, and it was a forfeit. Last year they had 1 win, so don't expect this one to be much of a game. Probably not really exciting in any way unless you're a Bartram fan. But anyway, moving on to the next game is Menendez-Matanzas. Probably might be one of the closer games, another district game. Now, Menendez last year was able to beat Matanzas. Matanzas is usually pretty solid, but I think based on what I saw last week with Menendez, which was a couple good skill guys, Trevon Bryant, Titus Mitchell, both look very good. I think they should be able to take care of this one, although I wouldn't be surprised to see it go either way.
Yeah, I was impressed with the way that that Menendez did kind of stay with Bartram Trail with the majority of the game. The fact that they do have the athletes on their side, to basically match up about anyone in the county. So I'm interested to see how they do against Matanzas, who looks like they've had a little bit of a shake of the quarterback, where one guy's injured or one guy's coming back. So we'll see how their offense goes. It looks like they're mainly a running team anyways. I think their quarterback last week had all 6 attempts passing, so it shouldn't be that much of a contest through the air. But the speed that Menendez has should be impressive to watch. Maybe give them their first win of the season.
Yeah, one thing that Matanzas is consistently is disappointing. So I don't think it's going to be a year for them to challenge in the district, even with Creekside off to an 0-3 start. And with that transition, we'll talk about Creekside, who's playing Palaca now. This is actually the site of their first game ever in school history, which I was at a couple of years, I guess back in 2008. Feels a lot longer than that, but they were able to win last year, and it was extremely ugly. And Palatka, while turnover prone, typically, one win team, very bad over the last 5, 6, 7 years, still could give Creekside some trouble here. But at 0-3 first district game, if the Knights, who have picked to win the past 3 games throughout the week, but if they don't win this game, they might be in some serious trouble as far as making it back to the playoffs.
Yeah, as far as this game goes, I really don't see, where else Creekside can go except for, down if this game goes poorly, because like I said, they haven't been, only their last game, their last loss, were they any sort of competitive with their opponent. So Palatka going up against, kind of a lesser team, and, hopefully, we don't know the status of Livio Hoxa yet, or some of the health issues they have on the offensive line, it looks like. But as far as being able to, be a playoff team again, a lot of that's going to be determined this week.
Yeah, one thing about Creekside is that the 0-3 start, even though they only had 3 losses all of last year, and that includes the playoffs, at the same time, none of the games actually really mattered. So I'm sure Coach Stan is looking at it that way and telling his players, this is really when things begin. So if they go 0-4 with a loss to Palatka, probably be a very rough couple weeks ahead. And then I guess moving on to our final game, which is St. Joe at St. John's Country Day, their first road game of the season under Brandon James. And this is a game they actually won 30-0 last year, and I'm going to go ahead and pick them to win this week, even though it's kind of always tough with some of the opponents down in that area of the state. You just don't really know what to expect. But St. John's Country Day coming off a win over Beacon of Hope, also kind of hard to gauge. But at the same time, I think St. Joseph has shown some good improvement on offense with Brendan Baird and Thompson Hinman. So I think this is probably one of their better chances to get a victory this season.
Yeah, I have been impressed with Baird, and he just kind of coming out of nowhere, a freshman. Getting a whole lot of yards for them at running back position, but it is hard to get that first win on the road, especially for Brandon James. It's going to be his first win ever. It's going to be on the road, and I don't think I quite see that happening this week. Maybe in the future, even though I do expect it to be a close game, and like you said, they have been showing correct signs of progress.
Yeah, not exactly a hostile environment I'm expecting at St. John's Country Day, but you never know. I haven't actually been there personally, but we'll see what happens, and that pretty much recaps what we have for this week. So look forward to a first week of district games and moving forward on the season.
Before we go, I have to give a quick shout out to Dylan Jarbo, who was our 800th like on Facebook. He wisely decided to not let me call him because it would have been awkward and uncomfortable for both of us. So thanks, Dylan Jarbo. And anyone else watching the video, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, which is just Record Sports. And for our 900th, and if God willing we make it to 1,000, I will embarrass myself in some other way. So
yeah, well, I think for 1,000 we'll find something good to give you if you get that far. So I don't know what it is yet, but we'll keep you posted.